Hello, back to my channel. This is, I think, the third video to my story time about my childhood story. This is very sensitive content. I do not want to cause anybody issues or hurt anybody or bring past experiences that happened to them back up that might cause some emotional distress. Just know that if you know yourself well enough that this is going to distress you and cause you issues, this may not be the video for you. But if you're looking for someone who understands your situation, or you just want to hear my story, or whatever your goal is for listening to this video, I just want to warn you ahead of time that there is a trigger warning on this video. Okay, so this is part 3. And where I left off on the second video was I was in my last foster home during that time. And I was in Missoula, Montana, and I was sent to this group home for children. And because I guess there was no other place to put me, so they put me in a group home for young kids. And most of these kids had a lot of issues, like mental health issues. Some were mentally ill or could not express their emotions very well, so they would react in anger. So the staff were trained to restrain and stuff like that. Like, this was not the place for me at all. I think that this group home kind of molded me for what's gonna happen next. So basically, the foster parents or CPS left me at this group home. And I'm going to just say the abbreviation for what the home is called. RGH in Missoula. And it's through Wear Inc. company. And to be totally honest, and I really hope I don't get sued, but this is the truth. 100% truth. Please do not put your kids in Aware. Aware is horrible to children and even horrible to adults who are in their program. So I thought to put that out too, because I don't want anyone else to go through the same crap I did. So I was in this group home, and I was dropped off. I don't remember if it was by the worker or by the foster parent that I was recently with. And when I got dropped off there, everyone was at school. Yeah. So everyone was at school, and so I was just getting to know the rules and getting to know the place. It's the first time I've ever been in a group home before. My mom, my birth mother, came to visit me. She visited with me most of the day, but when the kids got home, one of them started having an issue, and they had to restrain this child. He was 11. He had a temper, and this kid was tough. He got out of a hold of 3 staff on top of him and then ran out the door. I literally don't even know to this day how they caught him, because he was running fast. In this home, though, even the older kids, because the home is for 6 to 12 or 6 to 13 years old, and they would bottle feed or sippy cup feed some of the kids that even were older, because I guess it kind of helps with their development and their healing. Some may have not been able to be bottle fed by their parents. This home, the staff were very hands-on. They were to build a connection with the children, which I agree with. But if the child does not want to be touched, they should not be forced to have someone touch them. And that was the issue about that home. And if I did not want to be touched, and I wasn't even being dangerous, but if I did not want to be touched or hovered over, they would do it anyways, which would cause me to defend myself. And I was labeled as a angry child. But basically, back on what I was saying about the 11-year-old boy who had to be restrained. Keep in mind, I didn't know how to express my emotions either. So during this time frame, I was a sponge. I took in everything. So when I saw this 11-year-old boy losing it because he was upset, my brain went, oh, so that's how I act, or that's how I'm supposed to act when I'm upset. So this kind of just molded who I was as a kid after I was put on a ton of medication. But after the boy freaked out and they got him calmed down, my mom came to visit me, like I was saying earlier. And then when it was time to leave, it was like getting dark outside, so it was getting close to bedtime. And because these staff are very hands-on, they want to touch the child and like tuck them in and get close with them. Some of the staff would even cuddle with some of the kids. I don't really see a problem in that as long as they keep things appropriate. And the child wants that. But it was getting close to bedtime, and I want to apologize if I keep going off somewhere else in my head, or I'm like spacing out, or it takes me a couple seconds to regain my thought. It's because I'm thinking about that time and I'm kind of like seeing it play out in my head. So basically what happened is they told me it was time for bed. Obviously I wanted to go to bed. I was a little upset, like my mom just left me there by myself with people that I did not know, and so I was a bit upset. And so I just wanted to go to bed. Well, they came in and they were proceeding to tuck me in, and I told them, I said, hey, please don't touch me. I'm a big girl. I can put myself to bed. Keep in mind, I think I was like 9, almost barely 10. So I was a big girl. Like, I could do this stuff myself. And I was like, please don't touch me. Like, I just want to go to bed. And I was being polite. I was just expressing myself, like, please don't touch me. I don't like that. Like, please let me go to bed. I'm not happy right now. I miss my mom. And they wouldn't listen. They continued to try to touch me. And I raised my hand up in the air like this, and I said, please don't touch me. And the minute I went like this, the staff grabbed me hard too. They grabbed me, slammed me on the floor, and jumped on top of me and was holding me down. Just because I've never really experienced this before or never had it happen to me exactly, I reacted. I thought that I had to defend myself because I didn't know these people. They were manhandling me. What do you think at that age I should have done, not knowing the situation or knowing the people who were touching me without my permission? Like, I immediately freaked out and tried to defend myself. And they were holding me and squeezing me really tightly. And I was crying and getting worked up. I had snot all over me because I was crying, and my body was red because they were holding me too tightly, and I was trying to get out of the restraint because I was scared. And so I was fighting back. I was pinching. I was just trying everything to get out. I wasn't me being a violent, angry kid. It was just because I was afraid. especially because of everything that I dealt with before this moment. Like, I didn't know. And also, I didn't know them either. So I thought that I was justified trying to protect myself because I didn't know the situation. So they told me that if they would let me go if I calmed down. But I was really worked up and really upset and afraid. So I had to force myself to calm down. And that's literally like the hardest thing you can do as a child when you're really worked up and you're trying to calm down and you feel like you can't breathe and you're just coughing because you're so worked up and you're choking on air. That was me. So I had to force myself to calm down and deep breathe so that they would let me go. And then I was able to get up and go to bed. Well, the next day they had me see a therapist. That therapist, within an hour, deemed me an angry child, and especially because of the behavior the night before, because I thought I was defending myself, but the therapist took it as me being violent and angry. So she diagnosed me with a whole bunch of stuff and started diagnosing me to have medication. They made a report up to this doctor that could prescribe medication, and they gave me loads of medication. Like, I was on high dosages of Lamictal, which is also called lamotrigine, and Seroquel. High dosages morning and night. So I don't remember if it was Seroquel or lamotrigine, but one of them I took 200 milligrams in the morning and 200 milligrams at night, which is like 400 milligrams. And then one of them I took 400 milligrams in the morning and 400 milligrams at night, which is like 800 milligrams and I was talking to a doctor recently about this, and they said that that is way too much to put in a small child. And keep in mind, I was really active. Like, I used to be in gymnastics. I was always running around. But after I left some of the group homes and stuff like that, or foster homes, and I ended up in the group home, I wasn't able to do any of the gymnastics, but I was always running and hiking and having fun and being active and doing somersaults and just having fun as a child. But 2 weeks after I started taking these medications, I started to develop stuff from taking the medication. I developed something so crazy. Even just saying it now, I felt like I was nuts. But I developed something called pica, which some doctors don't even know what this is. Like, I've brought it up to them. They're like, I don't know what pica is. I've never heard of that before. But if you don't know what pica is when you eat things that aren't edible. And it's like really messed up, and I felt embarrassed because I had no control over my actions. I didn't know. It's like I would get really overwhelmed and I would black out. Like, I could see myself doing it, but I had no control. And I would swallow things that weren't edible, like glass, things that are definitely not edible. Within the first 2 weeks of taking these medications, I was starting to have severe behaviors. And I started gaining a lot of weight. I used to be little with a small little chunk of a belly, but that was it. But when I started taking these medications, within 2 weeks, I started gaining so much weight. I looked like a pregnant child. It was bad. I even have a picture somewhere. I don't know if I can find it, but there's a picture of me in the group home on my hand or on my knees next to the Christmas tree at that group home. And I had this really big belly on me. Like, it was just pooching out on me. And I never used to be like that. I mean, I have pictures of my childhood before this, and I was able to wear like little bikinis and bathing suits and stuff like that. Not in a sexual way, because I was really little, but um, like I had a flat enough stomach where it was appropriate for me to wear that type of clothes or whatever, that like I wasn't like super chunky. I mean, I was chunky in the face, but that's about it. Like, I was super active. I didn't have these. I was always running up and down hills and just having the time of my life. And after taking all those medications and developing all those issues and like pica and not being able to express how I feel properly, it kind of made me feel like I was out of my own body, because there were times where I didn't have control over my own actions. I was hurting people that I liked. There were staff that I really got attached to, and I would just get this overwhelming rage and a sadness. Like, I would get jealous for no reason and just start attacking people. And that's crazy to think that, because I'm not like that. Like, I don't want to hurt no one. I can't even hurt a fly. Like, that's the fact that I developed that much rage is insane. But basically, after being there for like a year and a half, I got sent to this place called Shodar Children's Hospital. I really hope I don't get sued, but really all I'm trying to do is get the facts out there to get people to see and not send their kids there, because it's all the places that I give names out of, it's to protect people. That's all I'm trying to do. But the names that I don't end up saying, it isn't because things didn't happen there. It's because I'm afraid. I'm afraid because it's a big corporate business, and I'm afraid that I'm going to get retaliated against. Just know that all the way through this video, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that one of the staff or someone's going to get a whiff of this video and I'm going to be retaliated against. But like, I'm trying to be a voice for people who can't speak up, who are afraid. Some people can't even speak because they were born without being able to speak. And so they get taken advantage of and hurt and drugged, and like, they can't say anything. So I want to be that voice for people because I care and I understand. And some of these places need to be shut down immediately. But basically, Shodar Children's Hospital is a hospital for kids who are mentally struggling. And some are on medication. Most are, because they don't want to deal with anyone there. So they drug the children up until they're zombies, or sometimes they just drug the kids and they end up having behaviors and then just diagnosing them with a whole bunch of stuff because of the behaviors that are happening from the medication that they're on. Like, someone can go in there totally normal and within a couple weeks be all messed up. And like, you can beg and plead all you want, but they're not going to listen to you. And I remember being tortured with needles, and every time I take a deep breath, I'm just balancing myself out because sometimes I get worked up. But basically, they would lock me in this white padded room called the QR, the quiet room, which most of them had cameras so that they could watch directly in on what's happening. So even if I wasn't being violent, even if I was just expressing how I felt, being like, I'm angry right now, like, please listen to me, they would drag me into, and even if I just threw a pillow, and it wasn't even at them, it was at the floor, I was just expressing that I was angry because I didn't know how else to do it, because I wasn't taught properly. So I threw a pillow on the ground or whatever to state that I was mad, because they weren't listening to me, and I was drugged up on medication, and I had the shakes. Sometimes I still catch myself rocking back and forth, not realizing that I'm doing it, and it's just a side effect from being on those medications so long. I'm not on any medications right now. People have tried to guilt trip me into taking medication. I've been told that if I didn't take my medication, I wouldn't be able to get my children back, and I would do things unimaginable if I had my kids back with the medication. Like, I do not want to lose control with my kids in the house. Like, what if I hurt my child? Like, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I hurt my kid. And I try to make that clear with CPS. They don't care. They just want to get money. And I will bring that up in another video that is describing my situation with CPS, which I've also been threatened retaliation against that too. But I'm going to do it anyway because I love my children and I love everyone who's dealing with this situation, and I'm very sorry. No parent that is innocent deserves this. But basically, Shodair would torture me with needles, shake them in my face, hold me down, and stab me with these needles with medication in it. And I mean, it's not something that would actually calm you down. The only reason why I would calm down after being manhandled and threatened with the needle is because I was terrified of needles, and it would make me hyperventilate and feel like I can't breathe. But there were a lot of times that after they would stab me, they would hurry up and run out of the room and lock me in for hours, sometimes a couple days. And there would be times that I needed to pee, and they wouldn't let me go when I was calm. And I would just scream and scream and scream because I would start cramping because I needed to pee. And they wouldn't let me go, to the point where I felt like my bladder was going to burst, and I ended up peeing myself. And because of all of this, because of that, I have problems with my bladder now. And I get frequent UTIs for no freaking reason, and I can't empty out my bladder all the way. Like, I think I'm emptying my bladder, but I'm not fully, because there's always some left over because of how bad my bladder is. And it's always an urgent thing for me. I always need to go. Like, the first inkling I need to go to the bathroom is, oh my God, like, I need to go to the bathroom right now. And I'm like running to the bathroom even to this day because of these situations, which migrated over to one of the other places that I'm going to be talking about probably in another video. But yeah, they would lock me in there for several hours and wouldn't let me go to the bathroom, to the point where I would end up peeing myself. And even after I peed myself, they would force me to be in my own pee, to the point where I would get rashes up and down my legs. And I would just be sitting in a puddle next to or on my own pee for hours, because they would not let me out to go to the bathroom, even though I was calm. Yeah. So I basically, after being at Schroeder Children's Hospital, I migrated to a group home called the Pinsky House, which is also an Aware group home. I swear I think Aware works with CPS with all the corruption just to place a child somewhere so they don't have to deal with the child anymore, so that they could still collect cash. But that's going to be in another video. But I ended up in another group home called Pinsky House. And this is the end of the video. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about, in the beginning of the video, I'm going to talk about my experience at Pinsky House. All right, I will see you in the next video. Bye.